Impact segment tonight, is the bombing of ISIS effective? Some military experts say no. First, a brand new Fox News poll. Do you approve of U.S. airstrikes against ISIS? 78% do approve, 15% do not. Do you believe defeating ISIS will take ground troops? 57% say yes. Airstrikes alone, 24%, 19% unsure. Do you support adding ground troops if air power is not enough? 52% now favor that, 42% oppose. And finally, how has President Obama been on radical Muslim extremists? Not tough enough, 74%. Too tough, 7%. About right, 11%. Joining us now from Washington, Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters. So, what do you know about this ISIS bombing, Colonel?
Well, a contact of mine at the U.S. Central Command, which is the key headquarters in the chain of command for this mission, anti-ISIS mission, said that staff officers there who are involved in this are so disheartened by the timidity and the weakness and the phoniness of it that they've christened it shock and yawn. And that's not military commentators like me making an editorial comment. That's the guys involved in planning the missions. Shock and yawn. And there's so much proof of it. Bill, the administration's so proud that they've done over 200 strikes in almost 2 months. A serious air campaign would have 200 strikes in the first day or two. Look at what we're doing. We're using small-yield warheads on individual trucks. Right now, there's a perfect opportunity to really inflict damage, serious damage on the Islamic State militants up in Kobani, this Kurdish city that's besieged on the Turkish border. They're out in the open. We know where they are. What you do is you send in B-52s and you saturate the area with bombs the way we did successfully in Afghanistan and Iraq. And no, there are no civilians. No, that's the point. The civilians have fled. They're across the border in Turkey. Almost 200,000 of them at this point. We know we can see ISIS out in the countryside, but I am convinced that this president is determined to keep the body count low. And when reporters ask the Pentagon, well, okay, you've knocked out over 100 vehicles, well, how many terrorists have we killed? They won't give an answer.
Well, I don't know if they know enough, but let me play devil's advocate on this. Look, you know as well as I do that these terrorists, modus operandi, what they do is that they hold people hostage, they hide behind people. It's not like they have, camps that you can just bomb. So if we did do the B-52 thing and we did do the carpet bombing, we would kill civilians. Inevitably, that would happen. All right, now, number two, we don't have much eyes on the ground in Syria. We have some up in Kurdistan, in northern Iraq, but we don't have a lot of, precision target people saying, look, they're here, they're there, go get them. So I don't know if it's as easy as just saying, the Obama administration's screwing it up, we should do X, Y, and Z. I think it's a little bit harder than that.
Bill, of course it's hard. Some of it's easy, though. And reporters are standing on the Turkish border, and they can see the ISIS positions. This is one time when their artillery positions and other positions are out in the open, and they're not surrounded by civilians. And we're not doing anything. And, of course, President Obama undercut the mission by warning them 2 weeks in advance that we were coming to Syria.
All right, so you basically feel like he doesn't have the stomach for this. And you may be absolutely right. I mean,
it's a political scheme. It's a political ploy with November in mind. It is not a serious strike against ISIS. And by the way, Bill, you were talking about Ebola. This president has sent twice 3,000 U.S. troops to West Africa to counter Ebola. That is twice as many as he has been willing to send to Iraq, because to him, using our military, exposing them to Ebola,
that's
a cool mission.
Military force. There's no question everybody knows it.
Use military force.
Now,
we are failing in this mission.
The Turkish parliament did okay the war against ISIS. They did that yesterday. Do you think that's going to make any difference?
It will make some difference, especially if we can use Incirlik Air Base to mount missions. But President, formerly Prime Minister Erdogan of Turkey, is an Islamist. His ideal scenario is for ISIS around Kobani and elsewhere to slaughter the Kurds and then get us in to kill ISIS, because he doesn't want ISIS in power because he can't boss them around. He wants Jabhat al-Nusra. Yeah, he doesn't like the Kurds. He wants other Islamists to be in power and Assad gone, and we don't want any Islamists in power. So this is good news, but it's not great news. Overall, this is a phony war, a phony campaign. It's a disservice to our troops and the American people.